Good evening, everyone. This is Lisa Culverwell, and I am the owner of Miss Elsie's Bookkeeping here in beautiful Crowley, Texas. And we're coming to you live. This is episode number 9, and this is a big one today. We're getting over that threshold now of really getting into it deeply here. So this is the introduction to QuickBooks Online. I need to remind you to enable StreamYard. Go to the 3 little dots at the bottom of your screen and enable StreamYard, because this will enable me to be able to see your comments and to see who all is online. If you do not click those 3 dots, then what will happen is you'll comment and it'll say that it's coming up as anonymous. So as always, I always start this off, and my hair, I don't know what is going on with my hair today. As always, I start our videos off by letting you know why I do this. So I'm doing this live series. We've got roughly 27, 28 episodes in the series. So we're getting there. We're almost at the halfway point. We go through all of these videos. I record them for the small business owners that may not be able to afford a bookkeeper for whatever reason. If it's COVID, if it's just finances, whatever it is, especially with COVID right now, everybody is suffering. Nobody has been safe in any of this. 2020 has been, it needs some medication. For sure. So just because you can't afford a bookkeeper does not mean that you shouldn't know how to read your financials, doesn't mean that you shouldn't know how to take care of your finances. We're going through all of this so that you can learn how to record some of the transactions, because I want you to be successful in your business and be able to know what your financial health is of your business. This is for management purposes only and not for any other reason. I don't want you going out there trying to get a loan with any of what I'm teaching you. Don't try to get a loan for, $10 million to expand your business, to get a brand new building, more employees, work trucks, anything like that, new Lamborghini. That's not the purpose of any of this. It's so that you know what the financial health of your business is. So you always know whether you're making a profit or if you're getting a loss. We want to make sure that you know that you're not overspending. With COVID happening right now, it's so easy to do. We're not making the money that we used to, and we need to be really cautious about how we spend our money and just be very responsible with it. So again, as always, we always go through a very, very short review of what we've been talking about the previous episode. And of course, this week has been the ramp up week. We're now doing this 3 nights a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of every week. Right now, the episodes are set to end right around the 1st or 2nd week of February. So let's get into your review. Let me share the screen. We're going to go through this very quickly because we've got a lot to go over. So if you remember correctly, we went over the financial milestones of your business. So your milestone number 1 is to create a profitable business model. It tells the story of how your entire business works. You want to ask yourself, who's your client? What does your client value? And how do you deliver that value at the right cost? Milestone number 2, keep customers coming back. You want to land that first repeat client that'll give you confidence in your business and motivation to keep going. And you want to get this through personal recommendations, existing contacts. If you really enjoy cold calling, more power to you. Me, not so much. Milestone number 3, find a marketing strategy unique to your brand that's realistic and scalable. You want to tackle as much of the marketing as you can. Outsource once you know what works. Take an active role in your marketing campaign that will strengthen 2 key talents, which is delegation and determination. Number 4 is this. Hire the best talent and train a solid team. This is the exciting milestone that's going to that's going to grow your business by leaps and bounds. Create a stellar employee training program before you hire your first employee, and test the water by hiring a virtual assistant, a VA for short, or contractor, which can help you establish that highly sought after work-life balance. Number 5, gain authority in your industry. The internet is the fastest route to becoming an authority. Create the type of content that your industry needs and will appreciate, and give it away for free. This is your free value that you're giving to them. Get involved in local events that allow you to share your expertise, and coupling speaking engagements with stellar online content will turn you into a sought-after authority. And finally, number 6, start making more sales. Set a specific goal for sales, because without a goal, the business will stagnate, and having a goal will help you to continue moving towards your target growth. Determine an ambitious yet achievable dollar figure for your business. Only you will know what number to set as your target, and once it's set, make sure everyone on your team knows about it. I know we flew through all of that. It was a lot of information, but the course last night, or the episode last night, was actually a fairly short one. We try to keep it around 30 minutes, and it went about 20. So, okay, the meat and potatoes, as I call it, of this episode, which is the QuickBooks Online introduction. It's not quite a tutorial right now. So let me share my screen again. Okay, everyone, this is my sample company, because I do have proprietary information on my screen, on my QuickBooks account, that I can't allow anybody to see. So this is Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. This is just a generic company that doesn't exist. QuickBooks Online actually created it. So this is what it looks like, your dashboard. It's going to show you what you need to do to get started, to set up your payments. There's something here called a bank feed. A bank feed is actually going to tell you, it's going to keep track of all of your credit cards, all of your banking information, and it can actually download all of the transactions on a daily basis. It's almost real time. It makes it very simple, so you're not having to enter everything by hand. Yeah, let me change this really quick. There we go. So we've got all of our invoices. This is what is unpaid. This is what is owed to you. This is your customer. These are your expenses. These are your vendors. So it's who you owe. Your accounts payable. This is your accounts receivable. These are all the bank accounts from your bank feed, as we were talking about. This is showing you what your profit and loss is. What your profit and loss, if you remember correctly, there is a specific report that is called the profit and loss statement. And what it tells you is what you brought in income for any given period of time, your cost of goods sold, if you have any discounts, things like that, any losses that you might have, like returns. But it's also going to give you how much you spent in all of your expenses. This doesn't include credit card payments or anything like that. It's your expenses. And what it does is it tallies everything up. So it takes all of your income and cost of goods sold, and you end up with your net profit right there. Your gross profit is before your cost of goods sold. Your net profit is after the cost of goods sold. And then it's going to subtract all of your expenses. And then you end up with your net income. Your net profit and your net income are two different things. Net profit is before expenses. Net income is after. These are all of your sales, and you can actually change all of these so that you can look at a week, you can look at a day, you can, well, okay, no, it's not going to let you look at a day. But it will let you look at a week. You can look at a month, any particular month, quarter. You can look at this year, last year. You can even look at it by month. And you can actually add all of these little widgets to it. This is your banking tab. So what we do is we go to link an account, and it gives us a list of all of the most common banks and credit card companies. And you can choose one. I actually go to this. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it because it's the sample company. That's okay. So basically, it's going to come up with this large screen right in the center, or this large square right in the center that says, please choose your bank or your institution. You do that, you log into that institution through here, and it'll ask you how far back you want to download. You can do, I think it's up to a couple of years, I think. So then it brings everything up in here, and as you can see, it is brought over every single transaction. Now, what all of this means is if you have already, let's say that you have, well, let's take this for instance. This is a deposit. So you just made a sale. You have put the bill in. You've invoiced the customer. Excuse me. You've invoiced the customer, and you have received a check. Now you're just waiting for the deposit to come through the bank. That's what this is. It has found that there's already a check in the system that you've received for the amount that you actually billed and received from the customer. And now it's saying, okay, we're showing that there's a deposit. We found a record. Do you want to match it? When you click on this, you actually have the ability to change it. So if you don't recognize it, then you've got a couple of options. Categorizing means that you're giving it a category, you're giving it a code. We call it a GL code, a general liability code. And what that means is we're telling it where we want it to show on the report. So for instance, if you purchased office supplies from Office Depot on here and it shows up, you're going to click on Categorize and actually tell it where to go right here. You can give it the vendor name. You can even tell it on here what you purchased. If you, let's say that you purchased office supplies and a very, very expensive desk from Office Depot, then when you click on split, you can actually tell it that you made purchases that aren't going to the same category. So one would go to office supplies, the other one would go towards office furniture or an asset account. But because this is a deposit and it's already found everything, all you got to do is click match, and it automatically puts the deposit in there. So for all of these, see if we can find one that, okay, Jim's Gas. So you notice it didn't find anything. Sometimes it automatically wants to put something into uncategorized expenses. Don't ever put something there unless you are a bookkeeper or an accountant and you're waiting on an answer from your client. So for this, we would click on the drop down and we would actually look for our expense account. Not knowing what all is here, we're just going to start typing. So gas and electric. We have fuel. Yes. We would count that towards fuel. We could put something in here. And gas and oil. And that actually sounds like that might be gas and electric. Okay, let's say that you have made a purchase at Home Depot and you need to bill the client for the materials that you just purchased. Right here, you would actually type the customer name and you would click on here that it's billable. And what that means is that when you go to bill the client, that billable expense is automatically going to come up and ask you, do you want to bill this? And I am so sorry for the train in the background. We live like 150 yards, maybe, from the train. So, okay, then we're going to click add. So now that's just added that into your expense. So you don't have to enter everything by hand, which is the beauty of all of this. But you have to be very careful because if you got anything wrong, let's say a date, a dollar amount, if you transposed a dollar amount, for instance, on anything, on a check, let's say, oh, don't we love that number? Let's say Hicks Hardware, you made a purchase and you put it in there that you used your debit card. But instead of putting in 2438, you put in 2483 by accident. What's going to happen is when you run this bank feed, it's going to pull this and it's going to say, well, wait a minute, we don't recognize this number. Do you want to add it? But you know that you put something in there. So you're going to click on Find Match. And 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have anything in here because you've probably already matched everything else. So then you need to do your research and find out, okay, did I transpose a number? Did I get a date wrong? What happened? And you're going to search for it because you don't want to put it in there a second time. Then you're overstating your expenses. We'll get into rules. We might get into rules another time. I'm not sure. Rules is advanced and it's basically, it makes it easier for you to work with the bank feed because now whenever you get certain transactions, you're telling QuickBooks Online that every time it receives a transaction like that, to automatically categorize it to this category. There's another rule that you can actually tell it to automatically enter. I do not recommend that. Receipts, for you small business owners, it's so nice having the ability to actually take pictures of your receipts as you're spending your money. Because then what happens, oh, wrong one. We don't want tags. What happens is, of course, we don't have anything connected, so it's not going to bring anything up. What's going to happen is it's going to bring up all of the receipts that you have captured. And so when you go through it in here, you're going to treat it just like you did with your bank feed. So it automatically puts it into your expenses. From your phone, you can also do it from there as well. Okay, expenses. So this is the screen where when you're spending money, this is where you want to be. So Over here on new transactions, we've got things like time activity. So if you do a lot of timekeeping for while you're working with your clients, let's say, for example, you're an attorney. And of course, attorneys need to keep track of their time with every single client. This is a very nice feature because now you can tell it the date, the client that you were talking to or were with. Sorry, this is you, the customer. What service it is that you've provided them, whether it was a telephone consultation, whether it was transcription, litigation, whatever it is. You put in the time and you put in all of your description there. Now, if you're an attorney or a bookkeeper like myself, then the best thing for you to do is to detail everything that you've done so that they have those for their records and they always know what you have done for them, because for a service, sometimes things can overlap. So we want to make sure that we're not billing them twice for something. So what's going to happen is when you record that, this is a sample company. Let's go on ahead and try one, shall we? So we've got Emily Platt, and let's just take the first one. The customer is Amy's Bird Sanctuary. We're going to choose concrete. Maybe they need a new concrete pad, who knows? You spent, let's say 3 hours and 45 minutes. Concrete for foundation installation. There you go. So we're going to come down here to save and close. If you have multiples, then save and new is great. Save and close. Now, we are going to go to vendors and we're going to, let's see here. Do we have anything for Amy's? No, because that is going to be over here. Amy's Bird Sanctuary. And let's see here. Did it put it anywhere? I am not. Okay, there's a time charge. I'm not showing it anywhere. I didn't pay any attention to the date. So basically, this is what you're going to find. You're going to find your time that you just entered. It's going to put it here, and then it's going to ask you if you want to create an invoice. When you go to create that invoice, it automatically pulls everything up for you. And you can put some more in the description if you want. And usually if you have multiple time charges and materials, you'll see this box over here that'll come up and say, it'll say, hey, we found this other stuff. Do you want to enter this as well? Okay, back to expenses. And we've got to make this quick. We've got about 5 minutes left. So over here, we've got vendors and expenses. This is your list of vendors. You can get to all of the invoices, all of the bills that have come through for a specific vendor, or you can actually get to their account information. So if you need to change an address, you can do that. So here. And then you've got expenses, and it's going to list every single expense that you have ever put in right here. But over here, you've got all of these different things. So you've got your time activity, a bill, which is going to be an invoice that you receive from a vendor. An expense is going to be like a credit card expense or something that you may not have used your company bank for. Maybe you purchased it on your personal credit card You can write checks right here. If you work with purchase orders, you would put it right here. Vendor credits. In other words, if you've returned something and the vendor sends you a credit, you would enter it right there. And this is a brand new feature this year to QuickBooks Online, pay down credit card. So instead of actually writing a check that says, yes, this is what I am paying, because when you write a check, it's going to ask you what account you're taking it from, and it's going to ask you who you're paying. But down here, it's going to ask you what you're pulling this from. So if you're paying on a credit card and you're using a check, you're going to put your information here. Hopefully it's going to come out of your checking account. But here you would actually point it towards your credit card. Instead of doing it that way, they've made it easier. So now all you have to do is select your credit card, your vendor, if there is anything besides yourself, how much you paid, the date, and which account, and save and close. It's that simple. So, and obviously we're not going to be able to get through everything today. There is a lot, and we'll go over a lot more in the coming days. Over here, you've got your accounts receivable. These are all of your customers. You've got a lot more tabs over here. You've got your overview. Overview is going to tell you about any unpaid invoices, any past due invoices. This is going to be just like with your accounts payable that we saw, every single expense. Well, this is every single invoice. But it's not going to list anything in any order, really. Here, it's going to list everything in order of customer. And you'll notice all of these. It's telling you, hey, you've got payments that you still haven't received. Payment links. This is a way for you to get paid outside of a check if you wanted to. This isn't set up here. So customers, again, this lists every single customer that you have. Products and services, this is actually every single product that you sell. Now, I have seen some companies that have 250 of these things. So when you're creating an invoice for a client, you want to be able to have all of your products or services up there so that you can bill each item as you sell it. Projects, if you've ever used QuickBooks Desktop, which this one isn't working because there's nothing set up. If you've ever used QuickBooks Desktop, there is something in the customers. It's a little bit different there. You've got customers and you've got jobs. Projects, those are the jobs. So you put your project beneath the customer. So you've got your parent customer. So if you work in construction, you've got the client or the customer that's paying you, and the address, if it's for a property that's completely different, you've got the address of the person that's paying you so that you always know where to send the bill. But beneath that, you've actually got a property address that you're doing the work for. So if your client is actually a landlord, then you're going to have two different addresses, the working address and the billing address. And that's what this is. Payroll, we're not going to get into that. We don't have enough time to really get into much of anything else. I'm going to show you reports one more time. We've already been through this a little bit a few weeks ago, but let me show you one more time. Remember, I was talking about the profit and loss. You've got your income, you've got all of your cost of goods sold, and that is, excuse me, that is actually, sorry, those are your services. These are your cost of goods sold. So you've got all of that. That is your net profit. And then you've got all of your expenses. It takes the expenses and deducts it from the net income. And then you get your net profit. And then you get your net income down here. If you're a brand new business, chances are you're probably going to have a net loss. So you'll have a negative number there. So that's all that we have time for today. We will be going through a lot more in the coming days and weeks. So there we go. So I just hope that if you're interested in QuickBooks Online, then they do have free trials. So you can try a free trial. I believe it lasts for 30 days, I think. And if you are wondering if, how much they are, or if you can get discounts or anything like that as a bookkeeper or accountant, as long as we've got the software for it and we're an affiliate, then we can offer wholesale discounts, which are up to 50%. And the catch to that is that we are billed by QuickBooks or by Intuit, the parent company. We are billed, and then we have to pass that cost along to our clients. So, but that's for a whole different day. So tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we will be going into transactions. We'll be discussing assets and liabilities, their importance, and how to record them. I want to make sure that you have a clear understanding as to what these certain categories and transactions are, so that you know exactly where they go on the chart of accounts, which again is the listing of every single account that you have and where it goes on the report. So I hope to see you tomorrow night, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.